Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
Welcome, everybody, to CBD Talk Podcast, episode number 33. Today, we have Gene Fein with us from Therajoy, and he has a very interesting background that ended up in CBD. So let's just jump right into it. Gene, welcome to the show. And how about you tell us a little bit about what you used to do?
Sure, Don. Thank you very much for having me, first of all. I appreciate it. I started off my career in the music business, and I was in the music business for about 15 years and was an artist manager and then producer and director for ABC Concert, and then created my own music shows, had a label. And then I moved to technology and ran a company called Digital Music Network, which was a precursor to offerings like iTunes and other things like that, and created a community while you were listening to music online. So that was enjoyable. And then from there, I became an inventor, and over the last 15 years, I've been fortunate enough to create 102 U.S. patents and a couple hundred pending. I work with some great people along the way in both careers, and just been extremely fortunate.
Very nice. Now, that just sounds like an odd way to get into the CBD business. So, but to be honest, let's realize that we all got into the CBD business in one way, and it's not like this is an old industry. It's actually new and burgeoning. So, how is it that you started just researching and finding out about it in the first place?
Sure. Well, one of the things that I was interested in researching was non-addictive painkillers. And so someone who's very smart in my family pointed me towards CBD. And I started researching it and learning about the non-addictive properties of CBD, non-psychoactive. It does not get you high, so you don't have to worry about that. It is a completely separate element of the hemp and cannabis plant, of which we use hemp, which is non-psychoactive unto itself. And so in thinking about non-addictive painkillers, CBD became more and more of a factor. And it's not witch science. The National Institute of Health about 12 years ago was granted multiple patents on CBD's ability to be a neuroprotectant and an anti-inflammatory, and to help with a number of conditions. Now, this is not spurious to say this, because it is stated inside the patent that CBD helps with inflammation, CBD helps with neurological conditions such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, along with numerous other conditions. So CBD is essentially a wonderful compound with the ability to help people. And so I started looking at CBD and what was available on the market from a topical standpoint. And from doing my research, I realized there needed to be certain amounts of CBD in the product, and that the product needed to be very pure. So we set about creating that kind of market, that kind of product to fill that void in the market.
And I think that's really important to note here. There are a lot of topical products on the market, but the majority of them, in my opinion, do not have enough cannabidiol in there for it to be a therapeutic product. So you can get a CBD salve or lotion and slather it all over your body, but that may not mean that you're going to get an effect from it, because if you've got a 1 ounce bottle of lotion that has 5 milligrams of CBD in it, I'm sorry, don't expect to be wowed by the results.
That's right. That's just not enough. And so what we did was we went out and we created a product called Therajoy Massage Oil and Salve, and it is created by 99% pure CBD from organic hemp in Switzerland, the finest CBD in the world. And then we combine that with an organic coconut oil base. So it's 100% organic product. And the great thing about it is that, I'll hold up the label here for you. It's this is our 4-ounce size, and as you may be able to see, it says 1,000 milligrams of CBD. So we created a product that had a very strong product, probably the strongest on the market, that has the ability to really help people because it has essentially, from what we can tell, the perfect amount of CBD to deliver to people. And the reason that we use coconut oil is that the mid-chain triglycerides get into the pores. It's small enough to get into the pores. And so the CBD can catch a ride on those triglycerides right into your system. And that makes it different from companies who use animal-based oils or companies who use shea butter and other things, because those molecules are just too large to really get into the pores to the extent that a coconut oil will.
Well, that's wonderful. So you were looking for a product that was a natural product to use to help with pain. And so there must have been some time between then when you found something and creating Therajoy. So
yes.
How did you start with using tinctures and stuff like that? Or did you really just focus on, I want a topical?
I focused on the topical. And along the way, we were trying different kinds of CBD because there are many different CBD manufacturers out there, trying to find the right one. And also experimenting with concentration levels so that we could see what really worked the best for people. And, the idea of making this product is, of course, we want to run a good business, but we really focus this product at being what we can find to be the optimal pain relief for people, the optimal relief that you can obtain from using a CBD-based product. And so that's what we were tinkering with. We were tinkering with, finding that right ratio, that right formula that can really help people. And so it's been super gratifying because we've had so many of our customers and so many of the shops that we work with come back to us with stories of how it's helped people and how folks are clamoring for it. And it's been very gratifying.
So do you have some of that you were working with that was more on the science side, that knew about the whole science? Oh gosh, what am I trying to say here? Okay.
The science of cannabinoids?
Yeah, because the thing is that some of the people that are listening here are really new to it. And, we talk about it, we talk about the homeostasis, we talk about, the way that it supports the immune system, the neuroprotectants, the this, that, and the other. Every time I bring someone on, I try to get to it in a different way. I want people to hear it as many times as possible, because there may be something that you say that's just a smidge different that might connect with someone so that they can understand it better. So if you were going to explain to, let's say, a friend of yours who has arthritis, and he's like, yeah, I'll just stick with my, the stuff that I get from my pharmacist, that my doctor prescribes. I don't know about this CBD stuff. How do you know it really works? Yeah, okay, whatever, patents, blah, 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 blah. How would you tell him that that specific cannabinoid, that cannabidiol, is effective in helping with pain?
Sure. That's a great question, Don. So cannabidiol is great for helping with pain because the brain has receptors for cannabidiol. And so by utilizing cannabidiol product in the proper strength, you're able to put that cannabidiol into your system where it can react with the receptor, and it's like a key to a lock. And so you put that cannabidiol into the receptor, and boom, that is how pain is stopped. So that we have opiate receptors in the brain, we have cannabidiol receptors in the brain. To me, it's a much better thing to use those cannabidiol receptors because cannabidiol is non-addictive. You are not going to get addicted to this. You can stop it at any time. You have no dependency whatsoever on it except for the fact that it's helping you. Mm-hmm. As opposed to the opiate receptors where, if you begin to utilize opiates, you build up a dependency to it, which has been well documented in this country about what that leads to in terms of heroin and fentanyl abuse. So not only is our product going to actually work with the brain, it's going to do so in a way that does not create a dependency. So what I would say to that friend who's not sure about trying it for their arthritis is you have nothing to lose. Rub it on your hands or wherever you have that arthritis. Wait about 60 seconds, and then you're going to start to feel gradual relief. In 10 minutes, you're going to say to yourself, oh, my pain's feeling a lot better. How did that happen? And then the great thing about it is that it will last for hours before you need to reapply it. And it's a wonderful product, and we're very fortunate to be able to bring it to people.
Exactly. And that's one of the other things that's interesting, well, especially since you're using it topical. A lot of times you'll have a topical that has menthol and camphor and things like that in it, and you'll feel that tingling. You'll feel that working. But CBD, you don't actually feel working. What you do is you more feel the absence of the pain.
Yes, that's how you feel it working, is that the pain goes away.
Exactly. And so that's what's so funny as a kid, because people are waiting to feel something come upon them.
Yes.
And instead of it just going away. And so it can be confusing sometimes.
It can be confusing. But the good thing about it is once you use it, there is no confusion because you know that the pain is gone.
Exactly.
And, people can get on with their lives. We've had people with spinal stenosis. We've had people with disc problems. We've had people with shoulder problems and feet problems. And all those folks coming back to us telling us how great the product has been for them and how it's given them freedom in their lives that they didn't have before. And they feel, at least a couple of those folks have said, oh, I'm not taking my prescription anymore. I can just use this. And, that's the holy grail for us. We love to hear that.
Yeah, that is the reason for doing it right there, to be able to help people like that. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but just please, if you take a product that doesn't work for you, and in our industry, in the CBD industry, this happens a lot. There are a lot of snake oils out there. There are a lot of products that have just a smidge of CBD in it, and don't expect something to work if it doesn't have a therapeutic dose. The FDA did a random testing last year, and some very big name products ended up coming back with either no CBD at all, or significantly less CBD than the label stated. So just because you use something and it doesn't work doesn't mean that CBD doesn't work. It could be that you got one of those products from a place that might have a really great website, but isn't what it's saying that it is. When you have a 4-ounce product with 1,000 milligrams of CBD, so breaking it down to 250 milligrams for 1 ounce, you can see how that product is going to be leaps and bounds better than something with 10 milligrams in an ounce. And that's really what you see a lot of out there. You see these products at dispensaries with 10 milligrams of CBD in it, like it's going to do something for you. And they wonder why it's not working. And to be honest, and I'm not trying to turn this into a commercial or anything, because, we really are about education, but truly, Therajoy, when you go to their website, therajoy.com, and look at their pricing with 250 milligrams per ounce of CBD compared to products with 25 milligrams in an ounce of, milligrams of CBD per an ounce of product, you're going to realize that you've been wasting your money. So that's one of the reasons why I like your product, is because the pricing is very fair to the consumer, and you can get a 2-ounce bottle, and it is really worth trying.
Yep, here's actually what the 2-ounce bottle looks like. It's a little cute bottle here, and you're right. We didn't set out to make a 500% margin on this product, like some of the competitors that are out there that are selling, 90, 180 milligram products for over $100. We wanted to price it fairly so that people could have access to it, and that's why we created 2 sizes too, so that if the 4-ounce size is hard for you to afford for some reason, we offer the 2-ounce size, which comes in much lower than that.
Yeah.
And that makes it accessible for people. The other thing that we do to give folks peace of mind is we place our testing certificate on our website so that people can see the purity of the product, and we stand behind it and guarantee it.
And that's important. We episode after episode after episode, we talk about testing. We talk about asking for test results so that you can see where your stuff comes from. And then one of the other things, like that you said, is you do offer it in different sizes so that people can have a more affordable way to get into a product, to find out that it works for them. And then once they do, go ahead and get the larger size. It's really great to be able to have a product that works, but what's greater is to be able to have it so that it can be put in people's hands. And there are a lot of people out there that are just about the money, and God bless them. Whatever works for you. But truly, if you're using this product to get relief, then don't waste your money on something that's going to have a small amount of CBD in it. You really need to know that you're getting something with a good dose that will actually help you. So when we talked about the receptors and stuff in the brain, when it comes to what the CB1 receptors in the brain, the CB2 receptors in your body and your skin and in your organs and things like that, one of the other receptors that you mentioned was the opiate receptor. And so the opiate receptor, from what I've studied at least, resides in the part of your brain that's very, very close to the part of your brain that regulates lung functions. And so one of the theories that comes with with all the overdoses that we're seeing with opiates is that it's crossing over into that part of the brain, and that's what's stopping the breathing, and that's why people are dying. So we all know that there's an epidemic of overdosing when it comes to opiates. We know that there are a lot of people addicted to opiates, and they're just taking the pills that were prescribed to them, and they didn't realize, or even if they did realize that there was a possibility of addiction, they didn't think it was going to happen to them. If that is something that is happening in someone's world, using a product that either an elixir or a tincture or a topical or combination of both is something that can help them to transition off of the opiates and into something that does not have the side effects. Have you had any people that have talked to you about using your product and how it's helped them in that case?
I have not. I have heard about that, but I have not. I would advise anyone who is having problems with opiates to definitely get treatment for that specifically, because it is an extremely powerful dependency that develops. And I think the best thing that you can do if you are finding yourself dependent on those is to get the necessary treatment that's available.
Yes. And if you're in a state that has medical marijuana laws, that because they do work with CBD, there are some doctors, I know in Colorado there's quite a few that have been working with people, helping them to get off of it.
Yeah, I've heard that people are utilizing it as a treatment to segue off it. And there's been some data that it's effective for that I've seen. We haven't made those claims because we're not
Exactly.
We're not really sure whether or not that is actually the case. So we only talk about things that we know that there's data there that firmly backs it up. But would it surprise me if it helps? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Right. Right. And if you are taking it for pain for a broken elbow or for a knee replacement or, for arthritis in your hands, as you add that, a CBD topical to your daily regimen, you may find that you can back off on the other.
Yep, we've definitely had numerous people come to us and say, hey, I was able to stop what I was taking because your product has helped me that much. And, that's wonderful when you hear that.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. So how do you use it personally?
I use it every morning and every night. And so I rub it on the back of my neck, and I rub it on my forehead and temples, around my eyes, and then I rub it on my back. And then one of my favorite things to do is rub it on my feet. So I like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. So I'm guessing that while you were developing the product, that you had a lot of friends who were very happy to be able to be guinea pigs for you.
Yes, we've had a lot of folks try it along the way, and it was very helpful part of the process, and actually made the product, because I have a fairly large network and a good amount of folks that I know. I think it was definitely a factor in the product taking off as fast as it has.
So, because now, and here's something a lot of people don't understand also. You got your product out of Switzerland.
Yes.
Which means that it can be sold nationwide.
Yes.
How about you explain a little bit about the interesting way that our country treats hemp and why it was necessary, even if you could have found similar hemp in let's say California, why it was necessary for you to look elsewhere?
Well, I think there is good domestic hemp being made. I think there's a couple of distinctions between hemp and the cannabis plant that's psychoactive, and both plants can produce CBD. So there's a thing called the Hemp Act that was passed by Congress, which allows people to make products from hemp and freely distribute them. Whatever is made, you can essentially make anything you want from industrial or organic hemp and distribute that anywhere in the country under the Hemp Act. Now, The psychoactive plant, the non-hemp plant, the marijuana cannabis plant, which contains THC, falls under regulations of the Controlled Substances Act. It's classified as a class 1. And even if there is only trace amounts of THC, the government can technically enforce that. And recently they've stated a desire to exert more control over that specific instance. And so that's why our product is technically positioned as a supplement. And we are careful to not make specific claims, but to point out research about how it can help. Establish research from the National Institute of Health, from governmental agencies about how the compound can help people. And so,
and when they patent it and put it right on there, that helps a lot.
Yes, it's definitely helpful. And so, yeah, that's the distinction between hemp and the psychoactive version of the cannabis plant.
So you got it from overseas because, first of all, it was a great place. You found a source that was pure, that was organic, and by bringing it in through customs, it also allows it to be available nationwide. Whereas even with just regular hemp, like they're growing in Kentucky, it's hard for them to be able to cross state lines with it, even with just like external acres of just regular hemp. So
I think actually they've had pretty good success with the hemp in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
They try and remove the cannabis they try and remove the THC from the CBD that they develop. And I think that what they're doing in Kentucky is wonderful. And I think what they're doing in Colorado and Canada is great. And because hemp is certainly a crop that has a lot of beneficial elements to bring to people. And I, applaud the state of Kentucky for supporting hemp and for making it, trying to develop a large-scale agricultural business sector out of it. I think it's a great idea.
It's still very new, though, in the States.
Yes, it's new. And so one of the reasons why we went with the hemp from Switzerland is it's organic and it's non-GMO. As the industry here is nascent and developing, we're definitely looking at domestic suppliers, but for now we're very happy with the supplier that we have, and hopefully over time we'll add some domestic supply too.
Right. They've been doing it for, in Europe, they've just been doing it for longer.
Yes.
They've got their processes down. They know what strains work. They know which ones to use to get the highest concentration of CBD, and it's we have a lot that we can be learning from them and implementing in our processes here.
And Europe is very GMO averse, and so am I. So that in that way is a very good fit too.
Yeah, and especially if you're using that organic olive oil and it's getting right in, it's soaking into your system quickly.
Coconut oil, yes.
Yes, we would prefer that there's not, as pure as it can be. That's what you want for your body.
Exactly.
So, what would you like to see happen in the industry within the next 5 years?
Well, I would like to see widespread legalization, at least on the medical side, so that people who needed things could get them without a problem. I'd like to see an overhaul of the reclassification of cannabis. I think a lot of people would like to see that. Preferably legalization, but if not, a reclassification is certainly in order. There is absolutely no justification to have cannabis classified in the same class as cocaine or heroin. That's just ridiculous. So we need to fix that. And Our new Attorney General has stated that he will follow the laws that Congress sets. So it is really up to Congress to clarify this. And hopefully Congress will clarify this in the near future. And the only way that Congress will clarify it is if they hear from enough folks and there's enough of a populist wave to have Congress engage in this kind of legislation.
Well, I did read this morning that a bill has been drafted and submitted, that the language is not public yet for it, but this one specifically was mentioning, was talking about for the state-approved dispensaries, medical dispensaries, that they be protected from any seizures and such from the federal government. You know, that they can't have their assets seized, their properties, their money seized. That they are protected completely from the government seizure laws if they are state-approved medical dispensaries.
Yep.
So,
And that's great, but it's not just about the dispensaries. You have to protect the whole supply chain.
Right, but and so that's like a baby step.
Yes.
But one of the things that is a problem is the lack of being able to use the normal banking products that the rest of us use in their businesses. So you have a lot of cash, which is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically money laundering if you put it in a bank.
But there are more banks now that are accepting it,
Yes.
and there are more progressive banks popping up, and FDIC banks that disclose that they're in that business. And so I see progress happening on the banking front, and I just hope that we're able to continue with the momentum that's currently in place. I am, all for the right kind of regulation.
Well, specifically here in Colorado, one of the things that they had to change with the regulations is they had to specify you cannot use pesticides on medical marijuana.
Sure.
Because
that's a great regulation.
Yeah, and you would think it's common sense, but it's not. It's not common sense when you have people who are trying to create a lot of product in a fast way. And
It's one of the great arguments for legalization is that legalization provides testing.
Yes.
And testing is great to ensure public health. And so that's why there is no reason that at least medical marijuana shouldn't be legal in every state, because people are smoking it in every state. I can guarantee you that, and using it in every state. So if it was medically legal in every state, that it could be tested and people could be assured that what they're smoking is not contaminated product.
Exactly.
And then also with testing comes the knowledge of specific levels of THC and CBD that can be presented to the customer at retail, and so then the patient, I should say, at retail, and so that provides you with peace of mind, and you know what exact kind of medicine you're getting, and people need that knowledge.
Exactly. You know,
to rely on it.
And that's going to start weeding out the snake oil stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So, well, we appreciate all the information that you gave us. Therajoy, I got to say, people try it. If you're looking for a topical that has an honest to goodness therapeutic dose of cannabidiol in it, you will feel the results. You will.
Thank you very much. You know, we are just absolutely honored to be able to bring this product to people. We couldn't be more excited about it. Product is guaranteed. I encourage people who have these kind of symptoms to try it, to see what happens, see how they enjoy it, and it's an honor to be able to bring it to people, and it's an honor to be on your show today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And so everyone, we'll see you again next week. Remember, stay happy and stay healthy.
Thank you, Don. Bye-bye.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks again for listening, and be sure to tune in again next Wednesday at cbdtalkpodcast.com. Until then, stay happy and stay healthy.